Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth, also known as the Continuum Chronicles. As always, I'm your host, Chris Kent, the Game Master, and today we're going to talk about Wonder Woman and Nubia. But before we get into that, smash that like button, ring the bell so you know when I upload stuff, and make sure you're still subscribed. We have a great community here, and it's all thanks to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. That said, our prologue begins in 525 BC on Paradise Island, also known as Themyscira. A mysterious figure known only as Nubia is wearing a suit of silver armor that conceals her features. She passes through the mists of eternal youth that surround Paradise Island and passes out. Her boat drifts onto the beach of Themyscira where some Amazons find it. She wakes up and claims that she is the one true Wonder Woman, and she has come to challenge Diana for the title. The Amazons have many laws and codes of conduct, and as such, Diana may be challenged at any time. And if someone can defeat her in combat, then that woman does indeed become the new Wonder Woman. And Nubia has issued the challenge. That brings us to the main plot of today's game. Nubia goes to the palace of Queen Hippolyta, where Dagda, Diana, and Hippolyta are walking down a flight of white marble stairs. Nubia publicly challenges Diana, again claiming to be the one true Wonder Woman. Hippolyta's heart pounds, but she knows not why. Nubia says, by Amazon law, I claim the right to prove in hand to hand combat which one of us is the champion. Diana says, you have that right, and you'll be given your chance. Preparations are made, and the entire assemblage of Amazons gather in the coliseum. Nubia enters the arena, followed by Diana. The Amazons chant the word Ola, Ola, Ola. Then the bulls are released. Both Nubia and Diana run at the bulls and show no fear. The bulls charge the women, dropping their heads and picking up speed. The two players roll dice versus their acrobatics skills, which are identical. They both succeed. So, in unison, both women grab the bulls by the horns and flip onto their backs, riding them, holding onto the horns like handlebars. Diana says she's impressed by Nubia's abilities. Nubia says, of course, I'm Wonder Woman. Hippolyta watches the two women move on from bulls to swords. Each combatant rolls to hit and succeeds, but each also rolls to parry and succeeds, so neither is getting anywhere. Hippolyta watches this with concern. Dagda squeezes her hand and asks if she's worried that Diana will be hurt. He offers to step in and stop the fight. Hippolyta tells him no, offering him a weak smile. He says he, of all people, knows how seriously the Amazons take their laws. But that's not what's actually bothering her. Hippolyta notices similarities that are concerning. Diana fails a parry roll, and just as Nubia is about to bring the sword down on Diana, she stops. Diana takes this opportunity to do a leg sweep, and Nubia topples over. Diana gets on top of her and says, you hesitated to strike. Why? Nubia admits that she doesn't know. As they wrestle on the ground, Diana notices that over top of Nubia's silver armored gauntlet, he's wearing a round golden ring. It looks familiar to Diana, but she can't remember where she's seen it before. Hippolyta says she's seen enough, and by Amazon law, the duel ends in a draw. Hippolyta says, stranger, rise and remove your helmet. Identify yourself so that we may honor you. The challenger removes her helmet, revealing her gorgeous dark skin and flawless features. I am Nubia, she says, of the floating island. Hippolyta gasps. Dagda takes note of Nubia's beauty, but ignores it for the moment to focus on Hippolyta's reaction. Are you okay? He asks. Hippolyta seems speechless. She stammers and says, after all these years, is it possible? In the arena, Diana says, we must celebrate our meeting, Nubia. But Nubia says, no, I must go back to my ship. My people are waiting for me on our floating island, concealed in the mists of youth. Diana asks if they'll see each other again, and Nubia says they will. She says that one of them still must prove who is the true Wonder Woman. Nubia leaves, and as she does, she waves to Diana, saying, until we meet again. As Nubia walks towards the beach, Hippolyta hurries towards her on horseback. Nubia, wait, the queen says. Hippolyta gets off the horse and hugs Nubia and tells her that she hopes that Nubia has favor in the eyes of the fates, just as Nubia has favor in the eyes of Hippolyta. Nubia hugs her back, and it just feels right. Nubia almost wants to cry, and she asks why Hippolyta is being so gentle with her. Hippolyta tries to cover up her true motives and thoughts, and with tears in her eyes, Hippolyta says, all women are part of a sisterhood. Nubia tells Hippolyta farewell, then goes to her ship. It's a long wooden ship with a hawk's head on the front and great orange-colored sails. She returns to the floating island, where she goes to her home there. Once there, she takes off her silver armor, revealing her shapely physique and a red one-piece outfit with a strap over one shoulder. Nubia talks to herself about Hippolyta hugging her and how she's never felt like that. Nubia refers to herself as motherless and fatherless and wonders if Hippolyta could somehow sense that she's an orphan. Back on Paradise Island, Princess Diana can't get Nubia out of her mind. Hippolyta's mind is also focused on Nubia, as she wonders if this challenger really is who Hippolyta suspects she is. Dagda senses Hippolyta's emotional struggle, so he asks what he can do to help. Hippolyta resists him, but eventually he gets her to open up to him. Hippolyta reveals that Nubia is her daughter. Dagda asks how that can be, and Hippolyta explains that she was pregnant with triplets. Their father was the last prince of Rome, and assassins had it out not only for him, but any heirs he may have produced. So all three children were hidden. Hippolyta sobs, and Dagda embraces her, comforting her. He tells her what she did out of love for her children. Just then, the floating island drifts through the sea towards Themyscira. As it sails closer to the Amazons, Aries appears before Nubia. We learn it was Aries who took Nubia from those meant to keep her safe, and it was Aries who's been the Palpatine to her Vader. Aries is the one moving the floating island, and Aries causes its volcanoes to erupt. Strange molten boulders are launched like cannonballs at Paradise Island. Hippolyta rushes outside, and it looks like meteorites hitting the island. Paradise Island has plenty of trees, so from here you can't see the other island drawing close. Dagda flies up into the air and starts punching the fireballs. He knocks them back into the sea where they boil. This produces smoke. From the air, Dagda can see the other island. He tells the Amazons what he sees, and they all rush to the beach to see for themselves. One of the Amazons yells, Suffer and Sappho, that's Slaughter Island, the domain of Ares. As Hippolyta sends for Diana, Dagda flies to Slaughter Island, where he finds Ares. Dagda says, Lady, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Ares says, You'll die for your insolence, then hits Dagda with a strength of 32 APs. We used the stats listed in War of the Gods by Dan Greenberg, which was published in 1989 by Mayfair Games. War of the Gods is interesting because it seems like it falls between first edition and second edition. Anyways, it gave Ares the highest stats of all the DC Heroes books that I own, and I wanted him to be the biggest threat possible. The stats we give Dagda are derived from everything from D&D's old Deities and Demigods stats forum to White Wolf's Changeling the Dreaming. And it's from Changeling that he has an ability called Elder Form, which simply put allows him to copy the ability of any species he's ever met. That said, the whole reason he and Diana know each other is because they both served in the Legion of Superheroes as kids. So he's met Kryptonians and Daxamites before. So thanks to Elder Form, Dagda has a body of 40 APs. That means for Ares to hurt him, he needs to roll one column shift, which would be a 13 or higher on two 10-sided dice. Likewise, Dagda has a strength of 50, but Ares has a body of 55. So Dagda needs one column shift to hurt Ares. So these two gods get into a fist fight, and neither of them is rolling high enough to actually hurt the other. They are, however, doing enough damage to do knockback damage. So they hit one, and while he's unhurt, He's still knocked backwards through whatever was there, whether it's a primitive hut or a mountain. So Dagda sees this and decides to play pool with Ares, punching him through some of those volcanoes that have been shooting fireballs at Paradise Island. Once shattered, these volcanoes just leak lava onto Slaughter Island. No more fireballs are lobbed over at the Amazons. Speaking of which, on Paradise Island, Nubia is wearing a mysterious golden ring crafted by Ares. This is a gadget with the mind control power that forces her to attack Diana. Neither of them realize yet that they are long lost twin sisters either. As they fight, each of them needs an 11 or higher to hit because they have the exact same stats. Their fight is perfectly balanced with neither girl gaining the upper hand. Diana notices the ring and rolls to see where she's seen it before. She makes her roll and remembers a time when she was wonder taught. Her mother was showing her a white marble statue of Ares, and that specific ring was on that statue's finger. Realizing this association with Ares, Diana makes a called shot and steals the ring, breaking the mind control. Hippolyta then tells them they're literal sisters and they stop fighting. Back on Slaughter Island, Dagda rolls a 13, doing 11 points of damage. The body of Ares drops from 55 to 44. Ares swings back, rolling a 10. He hits Dagda, who is knocked back, but unhurt. Dagda flies back at Ares and rolls a 15, doing 14 points of damage. The body of Ares drops from 44 to 30. Ares hits Dagda, rolling an 18. That's 3 column shifts. So Dagda takes 12 points of damage. So his body drops from 40 to 28. They both then take a few more swings and they both miss. Dagda rolls a 13, doing 11 points of damage. The body of Ares drops from 30 to 19. Ares wipes blood from his mouth and then punches Dagda again, rolling a 5, doing no damage. Dagda hits Ares for another 11 points of damage, and the body of Ares drops from 19 to 8. Diana and Nubia show up, and now they're both wearing Wonder Woman costumes. As we've said before, we borrow the idea from the Linda Carter TV series. It's the costume that gives them the powers. Ares sees this and he knows he's been beaten. He spends his automatic actions monologuing about how he isn't a man, he's a force of nature, and how he's inevitable and unavoidable. He says that sooner or later they will all succumb to him. And with that, he uses his 25 APs of teleportation and his 45 APs of dimension travel, and he's gone. The heroes have no idea where he went. Nubia is furious. She wants to kill Ares for using mind control on her, and she's enraged that he got away. Dagda says, this time. He got away this time. But like he said, running into him is inevitable, so don't worry. You'll get your revenge yet. Nubia nods. By the way, the stats deities and demigods gives Dagda are strength 25, dex 23, con 25, intelligence 25, wisdom 25, and charisma 25. To make him seem like the stats that DC Heroes lists for its various gods, we just say that all those 25s are 25 APs. We do the same thing for every god listed in deities and demigods. So that said, Dagda then uses his charisma of 25 APs to chat up Nubia. He introduces himself, and she is very receptive to his charms. And our Wonder Woman is based on the Golden Age Wonder Woman, so she likes where this is going too. Which brings us to our epilogue. The next morning, after Diana and Nubia are dressed, Hippolyta again apologizes. Diana says she understands and that she knows her mother did what she thought she had to do. But they have a brother named Jason who's out there, and they know about him now. So Diana says she's going to go find him. Hippolyta pleads with Diana not to leave Paradise Island, but Diana won't be dissuaded. Dagda says if she's leaving, he's going with her. Nubia says the same. And so Diana summons the Lancinarian morphing crystal, which lands on the sandy beach. It still thinks a little like it did when it had taken on the form of a Pegasus. So it paws at the sand with its landing gear as a horse would with its foot. Nubia asks what this thing is, and Dagda says it's her horse. Nubia stares at him, and Dagda smiles and says, long story. Diana uses her telepathic bond with the Lancinarian morphing crystal, letting it know what she needs. So it uses its self manipulation power to morph into a sailing ship made of crystal. Nubia raises her eyebrows and says, that's a nice horse. Hippolyta cries and hugs her daughters farewell. They both hug their mother back and assure her that they will stay safe. Dagda promises that he will keep an eye on both of them. Hippolyta says, I'm sure you will. Dagda pretends to be offended and half heartedly claims to be innocent, and everyone has a good laugh. And that was it for that game session. We had fun playing it. We hope that you had fun listening to it. If so, smash that like button, ring the bell so you know when I upload stuff, make sure you're subscribed, and as always, leave us a comment, as that really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. That said, I hope everyone has a great weekend, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.